When I walk through the town, every person that I see, I think, what did you do during the war? Did you participate or you just watched?
We did write a screenplay. We originally started with the idea of making a sort of documentary-style film, and the first few days of shooting were very improvised, and we were really just looking at the story and as it unfolded. And then after that, we decided that we would go and write an actual screenplay where we would work with actors. We do use real names in the show, in the film, but we don't. I'm the only person playing myself, and that's because I'm an actor in the first place, so that's sort of convenient. But we did write the screenplay. The story originally I turned into a theatre performance, which was then adapted for film. So for me, it was really just a case of when I found out this information about these places I had visited in Bosnia, I guess I just tried to let it go, but it wouldn't let me go. So I was really thinking about it often, still looking up things on the internet. And so I really felt this was an important story, and also a story that wasn't otherwise going to get told, because the people that could tell this story were either disempowered or, you know, they're not living there anymore, they're dead, unfortunately. So there was such a sort of circumstances where I felt like I had this unique position where I could actually do something positive and tell a story on behalf of some other people. And I've always found Bosnia and the Balkans as a region to be an interesting place in the world where East and West have collided for centuries, and different influences from different cultures, Ottoman culture, Austro-Hungarian. So you have this really interesting mix of religions and people and cultures. And I decided while I was in Bosnia that I could visit the town where the bridge is. The book is called The Bridge on the Drina. So this very famous Ottoman bridge, it's a spectacular bridge, forms the centerpiece of this book. And I thought I can go and have a look at the bridge, you know. And I went there for the weekend and I had a really great time. It was a festival weekend. The town was very busy. And it wasn't until when I got home later in Australia that I was just Googling things on the internet, and I discovered that some of the places I had visited, and particularly the hotel I had stayed in that weekend, had been used as a concentration camp during the war. And this particular hotel was a place where many women were raped and killed. And I was, I guess, quite profoundly disturbed by this idea. Even though I knew there'd been a war in Bosnia, I knew it had been very violent, I knew there had been violence towards women. I think it had never really occurred to me that the places where that violence had happened, hotels, schools, were just now functioning as normal things. I think it's very important that I'm a woman, and you know, Jasmine is also a woman, and obviously these issues affected us very deeply as women. I think as far as taking sides, I don't feel like I've so much taken sides as the story that I've discovered has a particular history. And that history is that these crimes were committed against Bosnian women, Bosnian Muslim women, and they were committed by Serbians, Bosnian Serbs. So it's really hard to get away from this dilemma. I mean, I can say it to the end of the time, I have wonderful Serbian friends. The film is populated with people from across the whole Balkan region. There are Serbians in the film, Croatians, Bosnians, and it's supported by many people from across the whole region. Now, the film itself is a recreation of the story as it unfolded for me. These discussions, like the one you mentioned in the restaurant, they're real discussions I had with people in Visegrad. And I think because we're dealing with this real, sort of this kernel of this idea of denial of genocide, denial of war crimes, it is really at that far end of the spectrum where it does feel like it's really coming from one side. I know in the Balkans wars, as in all other conflicts, terrible things happen to people on all sides of the conflict. These crimes, however, that I'm talking about in this town were part of this so-called ethnic cleansing program to cleanse the land of the Muslim population. For me, this feels like a very accidental story. I think of myself as accidentally stumbling across this. It was never my intention when I visited Bosnia, it was never my intention to go to these sites of mass atrocities. I have since been there, but I never intended to visit Srebrenica or I wasn't there to have a vacation that looked at the war. I was there to discover the country, how it exists today, its culture, its wonderful people, the wonderful food. I mean, it's a great place. Bosnia is very much my second home. So this story, I feel, very accidentally happened to me, and I'm very grateful that it did happen to me and that I've been the right vehicle for this story to come out.
Words, and those who are dead can tell no tales.